Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial implementing continuous integration and continuous development through Laravel and GitHub Actions. What are we going to achieve through this tutorial is first, we will create a simple, very basic Laravel apps and it will be stored into the GitHub repository, which is in this diagram position. Then we will implementing GitHub Actions to implement continuous integration and continuous development. During the continuous integration phase, we will run a simple test through the Laravel app, and if it's failed during the test, then the deploy will be cancelled. Otherwise, if it's successfully during the test phase, then inside the GitHub action, we will create the package, then send through the AWS S3 and deploy over there. Then the process is complete. So that's the main idea of CI/CD. Okay, first of all, we will prepare the fresh Laravel installations. So I will go to my terminal and create a fresh new Laravel through Composer. Create dash project Laravel /Laravel, and for now I'm using the name for my app is Laravel_CI. Okay, it will take some time for installing the Laravel app to be ready. Okay, we are done with that, and I will open my Visual Studio Code, and I will open the applications, the Laravel code inside my Visual Studio. Laravel_CI. Okay, here it is. And we will need a terminal. We will need it for future use, and I will test PHP artisan serve just to make sure that okay, it's just working, my very basic Laravel app. So I will stop the server again, and now if we go back to the diagram, now we will need to send our Laravel code to GitHub. So I will go to my GitHub and create a repository for the fresh Laravel installation. So I will go to my repositories and create a new repositories. I just set it to private, but it's okay, totally fine if you want to set it public. I will name it Laravel_CI and create repository. Okay, now I will going to push my code to the GitHub. So first, inside my Laravel app is git init, git add dot to add all code, and then git commit -m double quotes initial development. Cool. Now we need to add the remote URL, so I just copy from this line inside the GitHub and just paste inside the terminal Visual Studio Code, then git push origin main. Okay, if we are check inside the repositories, let's do refresh. As you can see, the code just pushed into the repository, so it complete for the first step, which is Laravel code in GitHub. Now we need a Beanstalk, a working Beanstalk applications inside the AWS. So in these prerequisites, first of all, you need to register either using free tier for Laravel, AWS. Otherwise, you cannot try to host to the websites. So I just go to AWS Amazon and sign into my own account. And take a note that the layout from AWS can change from now. For example, a few years ago, the layout is not like this one, but in 2023, the layout like this one, but at least usually the search is on the top, and we can use that to searching for Beanstalk. Okay, I choose Elastic Beanstalk because I'm going to create a Beanstalk applications. So I just click the create applications, and I put the application name as Laravel. Cool. And I choose platform PHP and using PHP 8.1 and attach the sample applications. Okay, we just create applications, and it will take some time to complete the installations. And meanwhile waiting, we are now going to work with GitHub Action. So we just go back to the diagram. Basically, now we are going to work with GitHub Action to create a trigger. Whenever any code is pushed to Laravel code in GitHub, then GitHub Action will trigger that there is a new commit, then running the actions, either from using testing, paste inside it, and then build package and deploy to AWS. So how to create a GitHub action inside a GitHub repository? It's pretty simple. First, we will need to create a folder inside our root project. The first thing is create a folder named .github. Then we create another folder inside GitHub. It's workflows. Then inside this one, you can put a YAML file. It could be main.yml for my case, but you can use another name, for example, either deploy.yml or something else you would like to name it. Okay, and this is the key how to execute the GitHub actions. And now we are going to put the name of our actions. So I put name is Laravel Deployment. Next, we add on. It means that when this action will be triggered, I put the trigger is during push and on which branches, and my branches to be triggered is main. But if you have another name, for example, could be, for example, development or staging or any other else, it's fine. It's totally fine for you. And for my case, I will use main branch now for tutorial. And then now I will go to add another key named jobs. It will define what kind of action or jobs to do inside these GitHub actions. So first I will name it the job as a deploy, as the name for deployment. And then we need the operating system to run on it. It will be runs -on. So I will use Ubuntu -latest. So I will use the latest Ubuntu. Then inside it, I will add steps. This is what how steps will be doing, will be execute inside this GitHub action. First, I will use, so I will use the keyboard uses as well. GitHub action library name action \checkout at v32. If you are wondering what kind of library is this, you just can copy it and searching it in Google and put it Action 2, then you can see the detail inside this one. So let's check it for a while. So this is the explanation and followed by the documentations if you need a further information about this GitHub Action library. Okay, now I will create another step and I give a name, create zip deployment package, because at this page we will use this step, build package. So from Laravel code in GitHub through the GitHub Action inside this, then build the package before deploy to AWS Beanstalk. So I have created the name and I add another key run which define what command to be executed. It is zip -r deploy.zip inside our root folder. So it means that all folders in my left hand side will be zipped into one file named deploy.zip. Alright, now the next step is I create another name for another job is deploy to Elastic Beanstalk. So for this one I will use another libraries called Einar Regilson /beanstalk -deploy at v18. We can take a look for a bit what this GitHub action about. So this GitHub Action library will be used for deploy to Beanstalk, which comply with this step, build package, then deploy to AWS Beanstalk. Alright, Einar Regilson Beanstalk. I just need to make sure I don't make any typo. Let me check a bit. Okay, cool. I type it correctly. Next, I need several library. I need several variables. So I add an key called width. As you might see from the documentations, we need AWS access key, secret key, application name, environment, version label, region, and deployment package. I will add AWS _access _key, and since is should not be publicly visible to everyone, so I will put it inside a GitHub secret. I will add it later, but for now we will prepare with $, double curly bracket, secrets.aws.access _key. And when we are going to add this part and how to add this, so basically you just need to go to the GitHub repository. In here there is a settings inside the branch, secrets and variables over here, and actions. So in here, new repository secret, I can add, and previously name is AWS _access _key, and later we will add this value, but we haven't created it yet, so we'll just skip for now and we will focus on the GitHub action. Okay, now what we need the next is AWS _secret _key, and also secrets as well, value AWS secret key, then application name from our Beanstalk. So we need to check whether our Beanstalk is ready or not. So we will go back to the Beanstalk again I will check. Okay, our Laravel looks like is still not ready yet. Oh, okay, it's looks like ready. Let's we check the URL. Cool, it's working on a simple example for PHP application, which means that our Beanstalk app is ready. So if I go to the applications again, you can see this is the application name we need to add into the GitHub Actions. So I just put in here Laravel. It's a direct name, but feel free if you want to put it in secrets or in environment variable inside the GitHub, then using something like this one. But for make the tutorial as simple as possible, so I just put a direct name in it. And next we will need environment name. The environment Beanstalk application we created, so it's Laravel-env with uppercase L. Okay, so I put Laravel-env. Next, existing underscore bucket underscore name. So basically it means that whenever we deploy any package to the Beanstalk, the package itself will be placed inside the S3. So how we find what is the S3 bucket for these Laravel applications, we can go to S3 and we can find it. Usually it is any name started with Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, cool, we find it. The name is Elastic. Yes, is one followed by the number, so I just copy it and add it to the existing bucket name. And then next we need a region. Previously the region is US is 1, as you can see here. So I add US dash is dash 1. Then version label, it can be any number, but I choose from variable github.sha to give an auto-generated number. Then we need add deployment underscore package, a package which we just created before, so the name is deploy.zip. Okay, actually that's it. And when we commit this code, this will trigger on push, and if it's push to branches main, then this job over here will be execute. Okay, let's we check and try. I will add commit test action, then we can go to git push and it will works, but we are need to set for the AWS access key now and the secret as well, so we need to set this one. So I will go to the IAM inside the AWS. Then I will create a users because we will need to create access and secret key. First, I will create users. The username could be perhaps Laravel. I click next. Then I will choose certain policies, the permission to do certain actions. In this case, I will need permission to S3, Elastic Beanstalk, and some AWS functionality. Therefore, I will choose AWS S3 full access. Let me check. This one, S3 full access. Next, I will need administrator access. Then last, I will need administrator for Beanstalk. Since this tutorial is focused on how to implement continuous integration and continuous deployment, so I don't explain a lot for the permission and what is the best practice. But for now, since I want to make it as simple as possible, that's why I choose those three policies. Perhaps if you are wondering why using full access or nothing sort of that. Okay, I will click next here. This is the permission I have created. Then create user. Okay, the user has been created, so I click the username, and I will create access key and secret key through the security credentials. And you can see there is access key, so I will create access key here, and my choice will be application running outside AWS because I will use it for GitHub Action, which is the third party. So I click next and create access key. So I got the access key here, and this is shouldn't be visible to everyone, but it's totally fine for me because if later you try to use this one, the application is already deleted. But for the best practice, please make sure that this is kept secret. So I will choose the access key, and I will go to the GitHub Action secrets. Previously we have created AWS access key, and I put the access key here and secret. Next we will need another one, AWS secret underscore key. Okay, so I just copy it from this one, paste it, add secret. Okay, we are done, and now we are going to push it to the GitHub. Git push origin main, and okay, it's already committed, and we will check inside the action. As you can see, there is action triggered. I will see over here and check the status deploy. It's failed for the first. Let's see what went wrong. Unable to resolve action or checkout, repository not found. Okay, let me check. Repository not found. Let's check again. Is GitHub deploy Laravel env secrets? It's already correct. Enable to action check out. Actions. I made a mistake. It should be my mistake. It should be actions / checkout at v2. All right. So I will add again the code, git commit, fix typo. Okay, git push origin main. So it will trigger another action. Let's check again, fix typo. As you can see, now inside the queue, I will check the deploy. As you can see, it's deployed now to Elastic Beanstalk. So we can check later in Beanstalk AWS. Oops, my mistakes. It will be better if just go to choose the Beanstalk. It's fine. We have Elastic Beanstalk here. Just choose. As you can see, it's running the deploy to Elastic Beanstalk. And if you check in here, so it's running, and it will take some minutes. Probably can take 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or even sometimes it will take more for that. All right, meanwhile waiting, we will go to this diagram again. First, we just completed this one, put Laravel code in GitHub, then build package, and then deploy to AWS. But we are missing this step. All right, so now I just show you how the simple first page for continuous deployment from the Laravel code to build the package and deploy AWS. Then right after we are happy with the app on Beanstalk, then we will go proceed on how to running tests and comply with this page on the diagram. So meanwhile, we are waiting for this part. Okay, it's done for the deployment. Cool. And let me try to the URL. We got 403 forbidden. Why? Because we haven't set certain environment. So I will go to the configuration, then I'll choose edit on the software, and the document root for the Laravel is inside the public. Then perhaps some environment properties. This is the equivalent we have on the .env in here. For example, app name Laravel, and then we have app key, for example, in here. Just paste, and then we have, for example, app debug value set to true. So basically in the environment properties is exactly just like the value you set on .env. Okay, so I just choose apply, click no, and it will take a couple of minutes again for setting up the application. So we just need to wait for a while. And meanwhile waiting, we are discussing furthermore about the test success in this space. And for the test in this staging, we will need another library from GitHub Actions, and the library we will use is named Nathan Heffley Laravel PHP unit master. So I will search it in Google. It's Nathan Heffley / Laravel PHP unit action at master. So this is the Laravel, the GitHub Actions for PHP unit we can use, and this is the documentations, the details. So basically the flow in this GitHub Actions is just exactly you run PHP artisan test in your local environment. So if it's passed like this one, then we'll proceed to the next step in this diagram, build package. But first it should be passed all of them, as you might see in this diagram. But if failed, then the deploy will cancel. Okay, let me refresh to ensure it's already working or not. Okay, the environment is already back to health. Okay, so you can see that the app is working now. It's cool. And now we are going to implement the unit test. So we'll go back to the YAML again, and We will add another job, so I add more space on top of the key deploy. Then I add PHP unit as the name for testing. It's totally unit if it's totally fine if you're using another name, for example unit test or whatsoever. And then I add the name for the job is PHP unit, and runs dash on for setting up the environment, the operating system. Ubuntu dash latest, just exactly on the jobs for deploy. Then I add the steps. For the steps, first I will use this actions /checkout at v1, and then dash uses Nathan Hefley /Laravel -php unit -action at masters. I need to make sure I don't make the typo again, so I will check inside here the name Nathan Hefley. I just copy it and put in here for now, just to make sure I don't make any typo. Okay, cool. And the logic for now is, from the diagram, we need to execute the test first before build the package and deploy to AWS. Therefore, inside the deployment, we need to make sure that PHP unit is run first. So from the deploy, I add another key, needs PHP unit, because this needs is comply with these jobs. So first this job will be executed in here, then go to the previous step we have set for deployment. All right, it's done. That check the status. I will add again, and then I will commit test success. Okay, for the name, then I will push to my branch again. All right, we will check on here. There will be another actions. As you can see, the name is test success. Okay, so as you can see, first we are running the PHP unit, the test case. It's like in here, the name is PHP unit, and if I click and check the detail, it's running the testing. As you can see, we are running a test and complete the job. Let me click again. This is the test, just exactly like what we have done on the previous case, just like this one. And then the deployment is continue to the next step. See, the deployment process is running now because we are successfully running the test, and the deployment just done, and nothing much changes since we just added the testing. And what if we made there is a failed test scenario, because previously it's the positive test case, everything's good, then build package, then deploy to AWS. So I will make one test is failed. I will go to the folder test, feature, example test, and perhaps instead of the status is 200 which is success, I will put it 403. And if I running test in here, PHP artisan test, so you can see one is failed. So we will try what happened if it's commit to the GitHub and what will be executed by the GitHub action. Okay, I will check only one file is modified. I add it, I commit test failed action, and I can push to main branch. Okay, cool, it's running. Now I will check my action again. Test failed action, it's running on PHP unit. We'll see the status. It's running test now. So there is one failure, so it's failed the job. And if we see the actions, so the deployment is cancelled. It comply with this diagram, cancel deploy. So that's the pretty much of it about how to implement Laravel and GitHub Action to works on continuous integration and continuous deployments. I hope you really enjoy it. Thank you.